it wouldn't be me, I wouldn't be T if I didn't go out with a little something, something. Obviously, I put the T in tequila. And no, I don't have anything to chase with, but a litty. Okay, so I'm gonna go out with one last little bang here. Alright, so this video is a little weird to even talk about right now because my last post that I made on Instagram, the only post that I made in the month of March, was talking about how stoked I was to have moved here to Mexico, how much I love my apartment, and how great of a move it was for me overall. And here you see me today, completely different circumstances. I am actually moving out of my apartment in Mexico and moving back to the US. All right, so if you don't already know, I moved here to Mexico, Tijuana, which is all of 12 miles from where I was before in downtown San Diego. I moved here in December of 2018. I began the process of looking for a place in Mexico around October, November of 2018, and then I ended up signing my lease here, like I said, in December. So my whole goal in moving here was so I can get my finances together. I wanted to be able to save more money so I could do more with my business, owning a gym, and potentially invest in some other things, some other personal things that I want to get into for the future. And so, you know, if you're not familiar with California, or specifically with SoCal, Southern California, just know that it's expensive out here. After moving here in Mexico, I was living in downtown San Diego in a 600 square foot, 1-bedroom apartment, paying $1,720 a month, all right, $1,720 a month. For me being from Texas, that's ridiculous, it's crazy, it doesn't even make sense, but living here in SoCal for so long is one of those things that you kind of get used to. It doesn't mean it ever gets easier, but like I said, you get used to it. So at the time, I had just opened the gym. The gym had been open for about 6 months, and you know, like I said, I wanted to focus on my finances and getting my money together. And when sitting down and looking at things, I was like, I need to change something. Something about my monthly expenses need to change. I had a friend who had just moved here. He was posting every day and it looked great. It looked awesome. He was on the beach. I'm central. I'm like 10 miles from the beach, but at the end of the day, I hit him up and I was like, hey, I want to know more about this Mexico thing. What's up? He showed me around. I had another friend familiar with Mexico. They showed me around. I found this apartment on Craigslist. Now, it's a brand new apartment. I am the first person to have lived in this apartment. It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, washer and dryer. You can hear the washer still going. I'm finishing up laundry. And this apartment, with all of this space, more space than I even needed. This was my bedroom. This entire space was only $900, all right? I'm gonna say that again. This entire apartment, 12 miles from where I was living before in downtown San Diego, $900. My utility bills, internet, all of that combined was only like 50 bucks, 50, 60 bucks, especially in the summer. I'd get a utility bill that you pay by monthly. So every other month, and it would only be $10, breaks down to $5 a month. Needless to say, $1,700 versus $900, it was a no-brainer. People were, you know, I had a lot of judgment in the beginning. People were basically saying I was crazy, that it wasn't safe, Mexico sucks, all this other stuff. A lot of it came from people who had never even been to Mexico before, so, you know, miss me with that. And then the main other concern was the border, crossing the border every single day. Most people, you know, just based off of what they know, they were like, oh, the border's a headache, it's a nightmare, it's gonna take you forever to cross if you're trying to commute every day, that type of thing. There's this thing called global entry, okay? Global entry is a different line to cross the border than the regular lane. So I have global entry. I applied for it the month before I moved in here because I was dead set on moving here. Like, I was gonna make it happen. I got global entry. It came in literally 2 days after I moved here. Perfect. My average commute time to get to San Diego, to get to the gym from here in Mexico would take me 40 minutes. 40 minutes, no traffic. Perfect. Like I said, I'm from Texas. It takes you 30 to 40 minutes to go anywhere in Texas. Miss me, again, with all the excuses. So basically, I've been living here since December of 2018. And with the coronavirus, with all of that, there is rumors that Trump was going to close the border. And so I was proactive about it, and I paid my rent here early. So I paid my rent probably 2 weeks early, and then I basically packed up all my essentials, all the things really important to me, and I was living with Charles for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. Now, I'd also heard that the border was still open if you're a US citizen, and it was just kind of weird because there wasn't a ton of information about it. So basically, today is Saturday. On Wednesday night, I decided that I wanted to come back here to my apartment just to check it out, just to see, what was happening at the border, just to basically see how restricted it would be going to and from, because I wanted to come home. I'm paying for this apartment. It doesn't make sense for me to not be here if I've already paid my money for it. So I came back on Wednesday, and it was in the evening, and I don't really want to go into too much detail, but unfortunately I ended up getting into an altercation with one of my neighbors and it almost became physical. It was just a really bad situation. Threats were made, and at the end of the day, I just didn't feel safe. We had a little mishap with the cops and just property management, and it was just it was a nightmare. It just wasn't a good experience. That was my first negative experience with another resident here. Like I said, like, people always talk shit about Mexico, but literally up until Wednesday, I'd never had a bad experience here. I don't have anything bad to say about my time living in Mexico. The restaurants, the food, majority of everything that I've experienced here has been great. It's just unfortunate that my time living here, I've kind of had some issues with the management of this unit or of this apartment complex. They haven't been the best, and it seemed like that at times that they were trying to take advantage of me, being American and trying to come over here and live. Like, I had to pay, and I haven't really talked about this much, but I had to pay that first year. So from December 2018 to December 2019, they made me pay my rent in full for the full year if I wanted to live here. Just things like that have happened on the management side of things while I've lived here, that it's one of those things to where at the time it was fine because I wanted to be in here, it made sense to be here, but after everything that happened on Wednesday night, and when the management approached me about everything that happened and got my side of things and reviewed the security tapes, and I just don't like how they responded to it and how they treated the situation. And they basically were kind of like, it's fine, it's your fault, that type of thing. I didn't appreciate that. I didn't appreciate them essentially not really caring that I said that I felt that my safety was now concerned based on some of the threats that my neighbor made. So on their end, at that point I was over it. I had some, like I said, other issues with management since I've lived here. And then for them to just kind of sweep things under the rug and not make it a big deal and really acknowledge what happened. At that point, I was just like, you know what? I don't really respect you guys at this point, and I don't want to continue paying my money to people that really just don't give two shits about me. And I know that's how things go. I'm sure all of us have had some sort of negative experience with landlords and neighbors and that type of thing. So I can't blame Mexico necessarily for that. But like I said, it wasn't worth it to me to continue to live here to just save money. And while I wasn't planning on moving out, my lease technically is not up until December 2020. I re-signed for another year, but it just, I don't know, it didn't make sense to continue living here. I'm basically over it. And so after everything that happened on Wednesday, I told the property manager that I'm done. I wanted my money refunded for April, and I want my deposit back, and I'm out of here. And as you can see, that's what I did, because like I said, I was raised to where you stand up for yourself. You speak up, you don't let people take advantage of you, and that is how I felt what was happening with this whole situation, and I didn't like it, so I did something about it. So yeah, it definitely sucks, because like I said, I have nothing but good things to say about living here in Mexico. My relationship and experience with the management of this apartment is a different story, but you know, Mexico served its purpose for me. I've lived here for 13 months. I was able to save so much money, and that was the whole goal of this. So I'm moving back to San Diego as of right now. I don't have anything lined up specifically. I'm gonna be staying with Charles for a little bit more, and then I have a few options. I'm not necessarily looking to just get into a new lease, especially with everything going on right now with COVID-19. I don't know what my work situation is like. Technically, I am out of work right now because my gym has been forced to be closed down. So jumping into another lease doesn't necessarily make sense to me right this moment. But like I said, I have some options of people I can stay with. Charles helped me move out yesterday. So I just came back today to get my refund, sign off on all the paperwork because I broke my lease. But the good thing about it was that, yes, I broke my lease, but I think they realized they were wrong on their end, and it was one of those little too late situations. They tried to make the situation better once I told them that I wanted to leave. And for me, that's like, that didn't cut it. You know what I mean? You can't just come back out of nowhere and pretend like you're sorry about what happened or whatever, just so I can stay here and continue to pay you money. So we packed up 90% of everything yesterday, put it in storage for now till I figure out what I'm gonna do in terms of my living situation. And then I came back today with just my car to pick up the last few things, clean up a little bit to make sure I get my full security deposit back, which I just talked to them and I will get that back. And then yeah, that's it. So it's been fun. It's been a great experience living here in Mexico. From a culture standpoint, I've experienced so much. In terms of the food, I've learned much more Spanish. I can understand it more. I can read it better. Been able to travel throughout Mexico, and I think I have nothing but good things to say about Mexico. It's just unfortunate that it didn't quite work out living at this building. So, I mean, I love the apartment. It sucks. I'm not really gonna have space like this, at least not for this price. At least nothing even near this price going forward in San Diego, but that's just the way it goes. So thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel. Usually I post fitness content and all that type of stuff, but did just want to go ahead and give those updates. So sorry this wasn't a normal video. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy during this quarantine, and that you aren't going insane and losing your mind. And if you are, try to find something productive to do. It definitely helps. It's helped me out a ton, obviously, because it's been stressful enough as is with the gym being closed and trying to figure that out business wise, but then to unexpectedly be moving, it's been a lot. So try to stay active, try to stay healthy, and wash your hands. Don't be touching people. Do the things, and I'll see you guys in the next video.